okay, friends. I love this too because it's like kind of awkward because we haven't gotten to know each other quite
like,
yet.
Hi.
And so it's just kind of like, yeah, we're going to jump on the mics and do this whole breaking the ice thing on the mics. But anyway, this is called cracking the copyright, kind of like cracking the code.
That's awesome.
So we're trying to figure out how to write a song today.
Pretty much.
And
It's my first day. I don't know how to write a song, so
I do not know how to write a song.
you're gonna teach us, right?
Well, we're not gonna do great, huh? I guess we'll just Postmates and chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll build up the hype for everything. Like, oh, I want to hear that song. And then just
And that's it.
Nothing.
perfect. So today we're joined by...
I love that. Postmates and chill. That's like a hang with friends.
That is pretty much, honestly,
I'm gonna start calling those Postmates and chills.
Postmates and chills.
That's
I'm
great.
down with that. You cut off
Listen.
my intro though. You know?
I'm sorry.
You go for it.
No, you go.
So today we're joined by...
My name is Maia Reficco. What's up, everybody? I'm a singer, I'm an actor.
What's up? What's up?
What's good?
Nice to meet you guys, pretty much.
Yeah.
And songwriter.
And songwriter as well. Yes, sir. I've been around for a bit, so it's hard for me to kind of say that. I don't know why. I feel intimidated by that.
Yeah. So how long are you in town for?
I'm in town. I got here like 3-4 days ago. We were doing reshoots for a Netflix movie that I did, and I quit. I was like, so can I stay for like 5 more days and make music? So here I am. I'm leaving Thursday.
Well, hell yeah, we're so glad to have you in.
I'm so glad to be here. I'm really excited.
Our manager Evan says he's like kind of helping A&R your project a little bit.
Oh yeah, he is. He is.
Yeah.
So we're super pumped. For those of you that don't know what an A&R is, real quick,
yeah.
an A&R is an artist and repertoire. They help find songs, help curate sessions to create magic.
Exactly. Honestly, it's crazy how much they do. Like, I feel like people outside of the music industry are probably not aware how big of a role they have.
Or simply how much goes into the song you listen to. I mean, I
There
think
you
we
go.
talk about that
Yeah.
in so many sessions where there's so many people involved.
So many, yeah.
And there's so many hours and little things, even on the production side or in the lyric side or any of that, the melody that you fine tweak.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll be recording vocals. It's like, oh, what if we just switch that to this or this? And you fine tune every piece of it
100%.
for someone to
Even-
just listen.
Even vocally, it's crazy. Like the things you don't realize, like scooping into a note or like like things that are just tiny
Yeah.
that obviously nobody pays attention to. But when you're in it and you're in the room, it's kind of crazy how much everything matters and everything adds up to making the song.
True.
It's pretty crazy, but it's fun. It's the most fun part, at least for me, that I'm so addicted to detail.
Is singing, the singing aspect of the detail?
All of it, I would say. But I mean, definitely, I act and I sing, but singing is kind of second nature to me. Acting, I love, and it's great, and it's definitely a huge part of what I love to do. But singing is kind of like what I cannot not do. Like I have to do it to be happy and to function. Acting I love as well, and I have to because it makes me happy, and I honestly work way more as an actor.
Well, you're in the studio today.
I mean, honestly, no, hour-wise, it is, but because the schedule is not up to me, but it is where my heart is. Music is where my heart is, so.
I feel that though. Like, I think I talk a lot. If I had multiple lifetimes, I would try this career, that career, in so many things. I feel like I have passion for so many different things. So it's very cool to, I feel like you have to go for it. You can't just specialize in 100%. One.
No, way less. I mean, I think there's the upside of how the world has come to be with technology and everything. It's kind of that one is able to capitalize on that and kind of go down different routes and try different things. And I think it is such a huge blessing to be able to do that. It really is.
How do you juggle it all?
I don't know. A lot of Celsius. Just a lot of energy drinks. Literally, I mean, I rapped last night at 7 a.m.
And you're here today.
And I'm here.
Wait, what?
Yeah, like 5 hours ago.
Did you sleep?
Not really. I also had to wake up early to do a self-tape. So it's like, I really do not know how we all do it. But hey, Celsius, please sponsor me. The amount of Celsius I take, I literally have like 4 or 5 a day. Cannot be healthy. This will ruin my future sponsorship that I want because I do take way too many.
Yeah. That's so funny.
So before we get to the current, I guess, how did you get into the whole creative world?
My mom's a singer.
Okay.
So I grew up in Boston. I was born in Boston. And all my family worked at Berkeley. So
I'm a
I
New
was
Yorker, so I'm trying
East
not to
Coasters.
hate.
Oh, I don't want to hate on Boston publicly, but like it wasn't the most fun for me. Like it wasn't. It's just like I didn't know many people that like. I speak in Spanish in my day-to-day life, and it's just like I didn't know a lot of people that fit my life and that it felt like that made me feel at home. I felt very much like an outsider.
That must have been hard.
Oh,
There's
God.
definitely also a lot of, you're going to hear me do this a lot today in therapy. That's an avenue we can go down to write a song about, right?
100%.
It's like growing up like an outsider and even how that impacts you today, and the mental processes of kind of what you have to fight for in your own brain just to feel like you're enough and you're adequate and you're where you deserve to be.
Yeah.
There's a lot there that a lot of people can relate to, so definitely going to touch back on that, but please continue.
No, I mean, it's just Boston as a whole. I think for me it was a little bit of that, but on the upside of it, my family was all working at Berkeley because they're all musicians, and that was really cool as well because I got the opportunity to be surrounded by music since a very young age. Like my godfather, who was kind of like an uncle and grew up really close to my family. He's a pianist, and like I was less than a year old and he was like literally putting my little baby hands on the piano, and so that was kind of the upside of it. So I was surrounded by music my whole life, and then when I was around like 10, I started bugging my mom that I really wanted to work. She was like, nope. You got to go to school first. And I was like, please, Mom, please. And I drove her insane to the point that she let me do commercials. And little by little, I was proving to her that I really liked it and that I really wanted it. And then I was going to school. And that was never it was never a plan B. Like going to school was always my priority. I was in high school and doing everything. But then she understood that it is what I want to do. And she got it from a very young age as well. And it was awesome. She was super supportive. And
that's cool. I think we all went through that a little bit.
I was a child actor, so I get it.
You know the struggle.
I wouldn't call myself a successful child actor, but definitely made me realize that I love this more than that.
It's an exhausting life.
It is an exhausting life being an actor.
Yeah, it is.
But it leaves you a lot to write about on the music side.
Oh God, I always say this, but I wear my emotions on my sleeve so much so it's so annoying. It is. I'm like overly sensitive at all times. But for acting, it's great because I can like easily get there. And for music, it's like I have a lot to pull from. But for me, I'm like, can I please grow thicker skin? Because for me as a human, it's like, oh my God, it's so exhausting. But for the art side.
The thing I've always been fascinated by, because at some point in my life, I'd love to be on a movie set from the writing and then be side by side with the director through the, going through the score, going through every scene. I want to see every cut. I want to, and then the editing and then the final product. I'm just so fascinated. Yes, we've done video editing, but nothing close to a film.
And we write music for movies and TV all the time. So.
Well, we're starting to score more and do that type of thing. So I would just love to be there
like sometime
when I have the time and just see every cut and then watch that scene later when the music gets put in or even score it, something like that. But the thing I always find is sometimes when I'm watching things, I'm like, oh, I'd kind of love to try and do that in the acting world.
It's great.
But the thing I can't get across is when you're watching it, there's the music behind it. There's the strings going and you feel the emotion from the music and from the scene, which a lot of times the whole scene isn't necessarily there. Mm-hmm. So you're feeling these emotions as you watch it and you think, oh, I could get into that like emotion there. But you got to remember, you're standing in a silent room
with 75 people right across from you.
So I just have to click into it.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by that ability.
Well, it's not an easy industry to navigate, especially at a young age. And unfortunately in today's society, still as a female.
Oh my God, it was rough. It's so hard. It's so hard, but
I'm sure there are definitely things we could pull from songwriting wise from that as well.
For sure. And just add a little sprinkle of anxiety and hey, there you go. For sure. No, it's definitely hard. As a woman, as a young woman, that to assert your voice, you have to go above and beyond to be respected.
You got to work twice as hard.
You got to work twice as hard at all times. It's really exhausting and for many reasons. And more so, I feel like coming, like having grown up in the industry and understanding how I got treated because I was a kid, and then how that treatment has kind of never faded. And I usually get, like, people expect adult responsibilities from us because we are adults working, but we get treated as kids. So it's a very interesting limbo to kind of navigate and be like, yo, I am an adult. I'm showing up. I'm doing my job. Why are you undermining everything I say and everything I could bring to the table? But honestly, nowadays it's at least in my experience, it's been way better. And the last couple projects I've been a part of have been a really huge, like a positive experience in terms of that. But still, like at the end of the day, I'm still a young woman that has to go above and beyond to get respect.
Absolutely. And that's
so hard.
I mean, I think that still definitely exists on our side of the industry as well. Yeah. Fortunately, we have a lot of Rolodex of people that we love to work with, and I think over half of them are probably women. And I think that almost every one of them has had an experience.
Oh, God. If you talk to anybody, it's so sad.
Yeah.
In the arts, it's just like you're completely, unless you're at the top, your word and your value is less when it shouldn't be.
Of course. Yeah.
I still think probably even at the top, there's still that,
I was going to say that. Yeah, exactly that.
Misogyny. And
I mean, just the bare fact that I don't know this for sure, but even at the top, I doubt the top male pop star or whoever it is makes the same amount as a top female. Like just in that world,
maybe unless you're like Taylor Swift.
Unless you're Taylor Swift, but it's like there's so many like there's just so many people, and I don't know this for a fact, so I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if that were it.
2% of writers in the Hot 100, or 2% of producers in the Hot 100 were female. No, and only like 14% of songwriters in the Hot 100 for the year are female.
That is insane.
Which blows my mind, because you think about all the people we have, at least in every session, we usually have a girl or a woman. I don't know why I keep saying girl, but yeah.
No, I do work with a lot of women as well. It's interesting to hear that, but I'm not surprised as well. It's like to get in the room with like these big names. I imagine it's same as it is with me. It's being an actor. It's like trying to prove yourself and doing so much more that you should, or that men are required to do to prove themselves worth of being there.
Yeah.
It sucks, but it is the reality, and talking about it sheds light upon it, which I feel like could make people feel seen and heard, and in some way could make something better.
Yeah,
absolutely. Taking a bit of a pivot into your personal life a little bit, so we can kind of just see where we want to go song-wise.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of relates a little to the acting. Have you fallen in love with a co-star, or what's up with your relationship life?
Let's see how I'm gonna say this cryptically. No, yes, I have had situations in the past, in which I feel like spending so much time with somebody and getting to play partners makes it all very iffy and makes it hard for you to separate reality from fiction. It is like that, honestly, and it happens.
That's a cool idea for a song. Sorry to cut you off, but like the separation of reality and fiction.
Oh, that's really cool.
Is a really cool idea for a song.
What song now? I love In My Head by Ariana. It's like what is it? It's just like the idea of what I painted. Like it's the picture I painted of you, which in my case is like I literally take that, like that picture comes from the character you're portraying, which is really weird and really twisted, and it's not obviously conscious, but there's something that about getting to set and playing this romance out that you kind of in some capacity start relating or like connecting that to the person. It's really odd, but I've had that happen to me in the past. I was younger though, so it was very
well, because Olivia Rodrigo wrote the whole damn album about it, right?
Yeah, Olivia's great. Olivia's so talented.
She's unbelievable.
She's unbelievable.
Yes.
Like what she did is so inspiring to me as well. She's awesome. I really do think what she did is mind blowing.
Yeah, but it happens.
Oh my God, it happens. And like honestly, with so many actor friends, it happens. It happens in the biggest sets. It happens in the smallest sets. It happens everywhere because it is such a natural thing.
Right.
Like you're connecting in such a weird, vulnerable way, and you're exposing everything. And even like when you have like more intimate scenes or when you don't, either or, it's like everything feels so vulnerable. It's just, there is no going about it something will get messed up. At the end of the day, it happens a lot that it doesn't too. But
right, for
like,
sure.
Like my last co-star that I played boyfriend girlfriend with, we're great friends and nothing ever got weird. But I feel like there's so many ways that can play out.
I guess like I'm relating it to like if you go on a study abroad trip or you go to camp, is it, you know, when you're younger, you go to something, you have this drawn out experience with people.
Yeah.
You get really close with those people.
Yeah.
And so then to even add on to the fact that you're pretending to have a relationship through that,
so strange.
You're already close because you work together every day.
Exactly.
So it's like you're already close. You're already playing the part.
Yeah.
So I've always wondered that actually when I've watched things. Because obviously, I think there are times when you keep it separate too.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Then when you think about music, so many people that come in here and say, oh, I'm dating X or I'm married to X. Oh, how'd you meet? In a session. So many people met in a session, but I guess that's not that crazy because that's our everyday.
Yeah.
So it
is our workplace.
Right. So and it's kind of like that thing. This is taking it way out of.
No, I love it.
The stat always that like 90% of car crashes or something happen within 2 minutes of your house or 2 miles of your home. And I was always like, oh, that's weird. But no, it's not because that's where you're driving the most frequently.
Yeah.
And so it's actually not that weird. That
exactly.
happens
Well, it's
always.
also where you're the most comfortable.
Yeah,
And
when you
so
start paying attention.
It's exactly. It's where you start becoming complacent.
100%.
Which I guess relates to all of it.
Yeah, it all goes hand in hand for sure.
I like that. Touching on that fiction of reality thing, is there any more detail that you can give us for the song, like where you kind of struggled to separate, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm just like thinking how, I mean, it's very obvious. No, there's something really funny about a young cast. I've said this a lot. I don't know how no one's ever done like a realistic movie or show about it because it's so crazy the stuff that goes down when you spend so much time together. It gets very Big Brother-esque.
Yeah.
Like it is very odd in a good way, but it is very all-consuming because you're spending every single day and every single hour of the day together. And in my case, I've had good experiences like that. I've had bad experiences. I've kind of gone through it all. And the same way that can happen with me and the person who plays my partner, it can happen with anybody else in the cast. Or the crew. Like, it just like,
yeah,
it's not limited to whoever you're playing the counterpart to. So it's just like, I feel like everything feels very high school.
Interesting. And how do you separate what you're feeling as this character with this person to real life? Like, have you had a relationship out, like say you had just a normal relationship, but then you're also playing a relationship with somebody else on camera?
Oh yeah. Oh well, I can talk about it. I dated my choreographer on a show, and we were together, like boyfriend. We were fully together, and on the show, I was dating someone. And it was really strange because he would have to choreograph us kissing and stuff like that.
Wow.
And it was odd. We got used to it eventually because that, whatever, it is what it is. And like we both knew that was the situation. But for him, I can't even imagine what it must have been like. Cause it was weird for me because I was kissing this kid, but like for him having to kind of just remove himself from the situation or from his personal subjective opinion, that must have been odd. For me, I'm pretty decent at separating. Once I'm on set, I fully separate. I like turn it off.
You're not you anymore.
Oh, I am, but like with stuff like that, when it's when it can get a little muddy, I try to dissociate a bit from it and just like go into work mode.
Yeah, you're acting, you're playing the role, you're not that person.
Exactly. So once I'm on set, I tried to do that, but whenever it's gotten a little confusing and a little hard to separate, it becomes taxing for sure. It becomes a little draining.
Yeah.
To walk on and see or for example, see someone that you used to date and broke up with and they have to kiss someone else. Like stuff like that too. It's rough.
So what does that feel like? Because I'm trying to dive into the emotional aspects of what your life is. I'm assuming that's happened to you. What does that feel like?
Oh, it's horrible. I feel like for me, it was, oh my God, this was so long ago too.
But can you still feel it? You could probably pin back to
I
it.
can totally tap
as
into it.
Songwriters, we can do it. So as an actress and songwriter, you can definitely do it.
Well, it really was so scarring. Like, it was bad because it was just having to turn it on in a way of once you walk on and start saying lines, but feeling like turning it on for your work felt like turning everything within you off. It's just it's odd because you feel like in some way you're betraying yourself emotionally, even though you know what you have to do is work and it is the logical thing to do. But emotionally, it's like I'm kind of pushing away everything that like one who isn't an actor would probably have to go through to solve. And I'm just like having to push it away because I have no other option. Where
do you find the time to dig it back up and actually deal with it?
Oh my God. Back then, I do not know if I ever did. I mean, I did once I was done with the project. But like specifically that was really rough because I didn't have any time to do anything. I was going to high school as well. Like I was doing so many things.
So you were like walking on eggshells your whole...
100%.
It almost feels like you're living multiple lives.
It's very Hannah Montana.
Yeah, right.
But it is in a really strange way that people, like I've never heard anyone who's talked about this. Because it is great. It's a good problem to have. We all know that. Like, it's awesome. I was living my dream. I was doing stuff that I thought unimaginable. But emotionally, one also goes through a lot of things. And that becomes my high school. In the same place where everyone cries and everyone, like, hides away and et cetera, et cetera. That's where I did it.
Right.
You can be at the highest high and feel the lowest lows.
100%. I right now, I'm in, like, probably my highest high career-wise. And emotionally, I'm great. But I mean, not great. But emotionally, I'm like going through it, and it's like I'm fine. It's okay. But it's just like I'm going through a lot of change. But it's crazy how people are just...
Change isn't always, bad. It's just hard sometimes.
That's exactly it. Bad and hard are very different words. But it's crazy how, from an outside perspective, it all just seems great. And even in the highest highs and what people idealize as the dream, you can go through it as well while being grateful and while being very excited. Because I remember talking about it to some people, and they're like, "Well, but be grateful." I'm like, "I'm so grateful." That doesn't invalidate that I'm grateful.
And you're still allowed to have feelings and emotions.
Well, there's some idea that if you've made it, right?
Yeah.
Or you're seen as having made it.
Yeah.
That you're not allowed to have lows, because why would you have lows? You're doing what 1.5 million people want to do.
Yeah.
So why would you ever have a bad day?
Yeah.
And I think that's starting to not be the case as much, because even as a parent, you try to hide like a lot of the issues and things that happen either in your marriage or in your life from your kids to shield them. But I think at some level it is important to let them know that you are also human, and you can say, "Hey, it's not, times aren't the greatest right now, but we're working through it." Or it's been kind of a bad day, but to not be that superhero 24/7, I think is really important and cool. And I think that whether it be on social media or through other channels, you're seeing people in these positions be more vulnerable
100%.
and show that a little bit more, which I think is really important, because it's kind of toxic in a way the other way to be like, "Oh, nope, you have everything. You're fine. You're perfect."
Yeah.
So always act like it.
Yeah. I think it's also inspiring for me being on the like actor side or whatever, on that side, seeing artists speak up about it. Like whether it's Selena Gomez, who I think has done a great job like speaking up about what she's gone through.
She's badass.
She's great. Or what Demi's gone through, or like all of these artists that have spoken up about what their struggles have been. I think for me, it's also been very enlightening. It just makes me feel less alone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't even imagine everybody else. But as an artist, it makes me want to write from a more vulnerable place. I think I wasn't doing that, but just because it's taxing and one doesn't realize how many.
It's scary.
It's so scary. 100%.
Showing your full self. I mean,
yeah.
We always say a song has to start from a seed of truth.
Yeah.
Because that's the moment where you can, expand upon it. You can fictionalize it from there. But if it starts from a real honest place, it's going to connect with people and it's going to be real and raw. And even if it's a banger, it's still going to connect.
Yeah.
You know, like Good For You is a banger, still connects because it comes from that real place. So that's what this whole conversation is really about.
I love that. That's awesome. No, I definitely agree with that. I remember I've written a lot of songs, as have you guys, and it's funny because the ones that are the most personal obviously are the most terrifying to release or to show or whatever, but at the end of the day, when you do, it's the most gratifying feeling.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, and mostly, at least for me, they usually come from not the best place. I mean, sometimes they do, but the most raw ones come from something that hurt me.
It's like a cathartic thing.
Exactly. It's like taking the power back a little bit.
Yeah.
That's cool too. Taking the power back. Just throwing it out there. That's a vibe.
That is something we can lay there.
Yeah.
It's on the plate, okay?
It's on
we don't know what we're cooking yet, but we've got ingredients.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's interesting. I don't know. As an actor, you go through way too much. I feel like it's a hard business.
It's a hard career. Look, I mean, there's a reason why people like me got out of it. I was sick of being the 11-year-old kid that I had a curly big Jufro at the time. I'm Jewish. But, you know, I'd walk into an audition and literally 5 seconds in, like you could hear the casting director whisper to the producer or whatever, like, don't know why they put him in here. He doesn't even look right for the role. And like, you still have to try and give your best. I just remember this one dude, he had these sequin pants and he was like, this kid's a waste of my time before I even said a word out of my mouth. And I was like 9. And you're like, okay. That's life,
God,
right?
Yeah.
Especially in that career. Because look, like you make it down to the wire. I auditioned for Boardwalk Empire and I got down to like the final 3 kids or 4 kids. Didn't land the role, breaks your heart at that age at 10, 11, 12. So dealing with that, it's like a shitty industry.
All in all, listen,
it's
it has
a really rewarding industry.
That's what I was going to say.
If it's for you.
It has its ups and it has its pros and its cons, as everything in life does. And I choose to find the good in it, and I enjoy it, and I love acting, and I think the reason why I kind of withstand the things that I've had to withstand in this industry is because I love acting and because it makes me really happy. And I've been fortunate enough to work with directors like, for example, the last movie I did, it's called Do Revenge, and Jen K. Robinson directed, and she is one of the most brilliant women I've ever encountered in my life. And getting to work with her has been so inspiring. And I'm like, this is why I do what I do. To work with women like you, to work with people like you that are so brilliant and generous with their brilliance and so absolutely just pure-hearted and why they're doing what they're doing, that it makes it worth it. And I think, at least for me, that's kind of how I view it. And honestly, the hardest part, apart from all the things we've just said, to me, with my personal situation of like being from Argentina, I'm from Argentina, is being so far from my home. Like that is the biggest downside to this whole thing by far.
Yeah, we both moved away.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen my grandma in like 3 years. It's terrible. COVID obviously too, but
of course.
Yeah, well, and though like the distance is obviously a lot different, you still have that feeling. I mean,
you're not home.
The place right. I mean, it's a whole different, it never really truly feels like home, I don't think.
But home is also the people and the way you choose to see the place. Like I love LA, and it's definitely becoming one of my homes, but it's because of the people I'm surrounding myself with. It's not so much the place.
Well, I think we've talked a million times, if there hadn't been this huge wave out of New York, we'd probably still be in New York. If there was
100%.
If there was still a good amount of the industry and people there and coming there and XYZ, but we were the guys who said, we're never going to move to LA. We're not doing it. We're staying in New York. And, obviously we're here. I've been here for years. So I think in the creative world, you kind of got to do what you got to do, but we all feel that for sure.
It's so hard. It's
so
really
hard. Let's take a shift back just for a second, because there was another ingredient on the plate that we haven't touched yet. Being an outsider growing up.
Yeah.
Can you shed some light on what that felt like and what the emotions were like? And just want to see I don't know if we're writing a banger today. I don't know if we're writing a raw emotional song. I hear you got pipes, so we're probably going to write something that pushes that vocal range.
I would love to sing.
So I'm thinking like, a mid-tempo that has emotion and range is where my heart is telling me to go.
Love you a mid-tempo.
So
love you a mid-tempo.
I love me a ballad too, but like, I think a mid-tempo with a little bit of energy could be something that could really work. But I would love to get, just some of the emotions of what it felt like being that outsider, and also what it kind of feels like, how you deal with that and struggle with that today. Like, 'cause there are moments of that. Like, there are moments where I still feel like that child that didn't deserve to be in that room.
100%. Oh my God. I've definitely felt it more now than as a kid. I think as a kid, first of all, I moved to Argentina when I was 7. So I've
grew up in Boston
and then moved to Argentina.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So like my childhood in Boston, what I do remember a lot of that, but it was also tainted by childhood, which is like the innocence of a kid.
Everything's rosy. Not everything for everybody, but just in general, everybody paints their childhood oftentimes as probably better than it was because you have a lot of blinders on. Yeah. You're so hyper present as a kid, you don't realize 80% of the stuff going on responsibility
around you.
Exactly.
You're just chilling.
And in that I've kind of come to realize a lot of things that I hadn't realized as a kid that were happening, but it definitely was there. I would say nowadays I feel it way more. It is.
What is it? What do you feel?
It's very lonely. I'm lonely at all times, even if I'm surrounded by people. It's just like the only times I'm not is when I'm home, when I'm in Argentina. And it's hard because I do have friends here and I speak in English and I have a lot of American friends and I have a lot of friends that are first gens and that because I'm a first gen but I grew up in Argentina, so it's not even truly first gen because like we moved so young. It's whatever.
Your formative years were in Argentina.
Yeah. But what if I just put my sunglasses on?
That'd be next level.
No, I'm kidding.
Look, everybody's got their own coping mechanism. If it made you feel more secure to put those on to be able to talk, like that's okay.
No, I like them because I have bangs and they keep my bangs out of my face. But no, nowadays it's so lonely. It really is. And I think there's different places in this country that make me feel less lonely. Like when I'm in Miami, for example, I'm obviously surrounded by more people that speak in Spanish and
understand the culture.
And I have Argentinian friends that are there. And in New York, I have a couple friends, my cousins there, and that all makes it way better. But it's just the environment too really affects me. I'm hypersensitive. I really am, and it is exhausting. But like even the possibility of like going to get shit on mate, which is like for mate, which is an Argentinian thing that I drink every day. Just having the possibility to going to the grocery store and getting that, in itself means a lot to me, which might sound dumb, but it does. So it's just as a whole, it's very lonely, and I do feel very much like I'm kind of fighting my way into any conversation in any room. And it is better in certain places, and it is better in certain situations and groups of people, and et cetera, et cetera. But it is something that comes with me wherever I go when I'm not home.
It's interesting. It reminds me of, I can't remember which artist documentary I was watching, but after playing in front of 70,000 people to go back into a dressing room where it is dead silent, and you had all this, admiration and all of that, to go back to nothing.
Wow.
And none of those people, yes, they're your fans, but they don't really know what you're going through.
No.
It's like that Bieber Lonely song.
Yeah.
Obviously, he had a whole different childhood too, but we all related to that because we've all felt that.
Yeah.
My happy place is up in the airplane or, in the studio. I don't feel alone, but when I'm sitting, in the park trying to read or whatever, sometimes I feel hella fucking lonely.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's real.
100%. And it's sad when that kind of bleeds onto things that you love, because that's what at least started to happen to me. But because of what I loved, I had to move, and I had to do all these things that inherently made me lonely.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of that dichotomy of like, I'm doing what I love, but it's pushing me away from everything that I love and who I love.
Yeah, it's trying to find that balance.
There's a song
really...
in this.
I know there's so many things.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I listen to the morning show from Minnesota where I'm from, and I still listen to it almost daily when I drive. And it's just like that little slice of home. So any little piece of that, I don't think it's stupid at all. I think it's there's a comfort to that.
100%.
I think it's really powerful. But also I do want to say, like, congrats on everything you've been doing, because you're a superstar.
Thank you.
And you have made like crazy moves. I mean,
Thank you.
You've really done some cool stuff. So I can only imagine, you know, as we progress as producers, songwriters, or artists, or any of that, how that can start to fight that balance even more, because now the gravity of what you're doing is getting you stronger. It's pulling you back to
further away,
not necessarily where you want to be, but do what you want to be doing. So it's finding that balance. I mean, I try to find times to go home as much as I can.
Yeah.
But as you get busier,
it's harder.
Yeah.
I've not been home for more than 2 weeks in a year and a half. And I
think we're about the same. Maybe a little more than that. We're like 4 weeks a year, maybe. No, 3 weeks.
I probably have a little more than you.
Yeah, I'm on the East Coast, so it's like 6 hours. So yeah, you get back more than I do. I get back max twice a year.
Twice a year.
Max.
It's hard. I mean, I'm also 21, so it's like I can't have any, like, every relationship.
You're still learning and growing, and
I'm a kid. Like I know, and I'm not in many ways, and I've not been for 10 years, but in many others I am, and I want to, like, no relationship has lasted because I always break up because of fucking long distance. Oh, sorry. I don't know if I can curse.
You can curse as much as you want, as long as you're comfortable with it.
Yeah, I curse all the time. The other day we were doing this thing for a very big magazine. You cannot curse. And I was like, fucking hell. And they were like, I was like, shit, sorry. No, but yeah, it's like, what was I saying? My God.
You were saying no relationship lasts.
Oh, nothing lasts. But like,
why is that?
Because, like, no one wants to do long distance. It sucks for everybody involved. I was with my ex-boyfriend for 3 years, and it was great, and there was never a problem, but it was just like, we can't do this.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
Some people can do it, but, like, realistically, I feel like you'd probably want to see somebody at least once every 6 weeks.
Exactly. That's a good balance. Once every 6 weeks is good. It's also, like, it becomes a really weird dynamic when it's, like, I can try to make you fly. It's just like, it becomes really odd.
Mm-hmm.
There's a really strange, like, you have to come see me because I am working here. It becomes a really weird dynamic. And with my ex, he came to visit me when I was shooting in Atlanta, and it was really sweet and it was great. But it's just like, and then you leave and then it's all over again, and it's just like,
yeah, when there's so much pressure on that time because it has to be perfect.
It has to be perfect
because it's going to be X amount of months until next time.
Yeah. And that in itself becomes really jarring. So it's hard. I've done long distance a lot. I then had another relationship after that. Like it also ended because of long distance. Like it just all for me ends because of goddamn long distance.
Who ended it in these relationships?
It was very mutual, but
doesn't necessarily make it hurt any less. In fact, that might make it hurt a little more.
Yeah, because it was always, I've never had a bad breakup in my life. I've never had like a big fight. I've never.
Right. This is a fucking verse right here. You hear that? I've never had a bad breakup. I've never had a big fight, but yet I'm still lonely.
Period.
Something like that is a fucking song.
Hey, we're not supposed to write it on the show.
We're not writing it yet, okay? It might not be that.
Yeah, I've never, because I've always ended it, or we've ended it, or they've ended it because of something that's kind of out of our control. And when it wasn't because of something like that, it was always very peace and love and peace. It was always great. But yeah,
so
it's really
now
hard.
Are you single? Are you with somebody?
I'm single. I'm recently single.
Is that hard?
Yeah, it's actually been really hard. It's the first time in my life that I really have gone through it in that sense. I've never really, because I'm usually the one initiating the conversation to break up. I've kind of mourned the loss of the relationship during the relationship and consciously.
And accepted it.
And come to terms with it and been like, okay, cool. Yeah, I have to do this. And then I do it.
Yeah.
This was kind of like, it was for me a little bit out of the blue. I didn't initiate it, obviously.
And were you thinking about it at all? Or
no?
I
was like confessing my love to them It was horrid.
Oh,
it was so
damn.
bad. It was so bad. I was like coming back home so excited to be like, I want to be with you. And they were like, so big dog. It was timing with this person, and it's
timing's everything.
Timing's everything. Like, they told me they loved me a while back, and I was like, I don't feel the same way.
Well, and I guess from your position too, it's hard because though it may be long distance, it still is someone you can talk to. It's someone you tell the small things to. Exactly guess what? Today I almost got in a car crash and blah blah blah.
Exactly
or someone bought my coffee today. Someone you tell the small things to.
It's exactly that.
And so when you also lose that, it probably exponentially.
It is so hard. Like, this is my first. Like, this happened like a week ago.
Yeah. Oh, geez, this is fresh. That's also what we might end up writing about.
Yeah. And so, like, this is my first time back in the States without that person. So it's really hard. Like, it's just hard. Luckily, I've been the most busy I think I've ever been. I've not had a day off since I got here, like 2 weeks ago. So it's like, it's been insane.
But being busy also doesn't necessarily mean you're processing.
Oh, no, I'm totally
It's like a distraction.
I am fully distracted. I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
But it's really
we're
strange.
Going to process a little today.
Listen, let's go. Let's get it.
Especially, like, once the cameras are off, we'll dive deeper where, we can really get
We'll go on a first name basis.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's definitely hard. And everything, but, like, it's exactly that. Like, not having like anybody to tell, or like not anybody, I can text my friends. They're not going to give a shit.
It's not the same.
It's different.
What if I'm like, hey guys, I was just getting a coffee and blah, blah, blah. Like, no,
right,
they're not
it's
gonna
different.
Care. And I get that they don't care. So that definitely is hard in itself, and they're dating someone else.
They moved on that quick?
Well, the reason why, there was a bit of overlapping.
Yeah.
So, which is fine. We were in an open relationship. It was never monogamous, so it wasn't like I was cheated. Like, they cheated on me, but
they fell for somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of the openness.
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with an open relationship. Very hard to make work.
I've made it work. My 3-year-long boyfriend, we made it work. It was good. It had its moments for sure, but all in all, it worked. It was great, and that's why I kind of kept on going with that. And in this case, it worked really well for the first year. And then now it was kind of like, it was the worst thing you could imagine, because it's like you trust that they won't do that, because you trust the emotional aspect is covered.
Right. So it's just supposed to be the sexual
exactly.
aspect.
And it's just like, you can go do whatever.
You're just away.
I'm like, dude, I'm not there. Go have sex with whoever you want. Like, do whatever you want.
That's
it's
hard
fine.
Because then I think one of my biggest fears in life is having someone you're in love with fall out of love with you. Oof. And or fall in love with someone else, which seems like that was the case.
Yeah, that was the case.
That is probably one of my biggest fears.
It's horrible. Yeah,
because
fear it.
Shit's giving me the chills.
Well, and you can't do anything about it. And you can't do anything. And you also can't you can't be mad that someone doesn't love you anymore.
You can't be mad. You can't say anything. You're just like, okay.
Right. So what are you going to do? Be like, there's not like, it's not even like you cheated on me or something crazy happened or you backstabbed me or you did something. It's like if someone walked up to me and like my girlfriend said, I don't have feelings for you anymore.
Oh my God, it's the worst.
You can't do anything, but all of a sudden you're going through your biggest nightmare ever.
Yeah.
Yes, but it also comes and goes. Like most long-term marriages, 50, 60, 70 years, they're not madly in love every fucking day.
That's also true, but they have more to lose. I feel like...
Well, but it's not even about that. I think it's about trying to... You're building something with somebody.
Yeah.
And there are moments where you want to rip your fucking hair out, I'm sure. But there are... As long as there's way more moments of good than bad.
Yeah. I'm talking more the person that has tried and tried and tried.
Ugh,
and you weren't really aware. You just kept kind of going through your thing and thought everything was fine. And then they're like, after months or after a year or years of thinking about it, they're like, I can't do it anymore.
That's exactly what happened to me.
Well, it sounds so cliche. And I know it's like the first thing that comes up when it's like breakup. First TikTok is everything's going to be fine and whatever. But I think we both went through such traumatic breakups where mine involved music and a relationship. So I had two worlds kind of collapsing. And you do kind of feel like lost, lonely, and like this is it, and you just feel so like destroyed. I don't know what the right word is, but that also leads to such great things, because I am just so thankful to not still be in that and like have that happen now, but I'm just so happy with where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And I think the things like what you're going through now is the only stuff that can lead to that.
100%.
So it's not getting totally defeated, even though it sucks. But I feel you, because it's just.
My dad always says you don't know the good in life unless you experience the bad.
100%.
So if everything was good, it'd all just be neutral.
It'd just all be, you just be on airplane mode.
But I know how you're feeling. It sucks. It's like that anxious dread, literally like that like sick to your stomach feeling that you just can't let
I always get it a little bit. When we talk about breakups for sessions, I like fall. I can feel it in my chest a little bit. I go right back into a touch of that mode.
Oh, it's that like riddled with anxiety thing.
Yeah, it's all consuming. It sucks. Also, I know the person he's dating. It's just like everything sucks.
Oh yeah.
But whatever, it's part of life, and
we're gonna write about it today.
Yeah, y'all are gonna hear about it.
It's gonna come out in a song that is gonna be fucking amazing, because you know what? It's real.
There you go.
And at the end of the day, all we're here to do is use our gifts that we've been given in storytelling and making music and singing and acting to impact people and cause thought, cause change, cause, people to confront things they wouldn't necessarily confront, or just to be there as the soundtrack or the guidance or the comfort. And yes, there have been songs that are massive that are written from complete fiction, but I could tell you 99% of the records that connect, at least for me, come from this.
Yeah, 100%. That's the most special thing about making music, I'd say.
Yeah, that's probably the slight difference between the music and the acting.
Oh, yeah. I'm a vessel for someone else's story while I'm acting. And here it's telling
the song is your vessel.
Yeah.
True.
Is that scary?
Yeah. Oh, that's why I'm so scared of making music or not making it. Making it's the best thing. I'm so scared of releasing it because it's my baby.
Yeah.
It's my life. It's my opinions. It's my experiences. It's my everything. So there's nothing that compares to the feeling of that, of how scared it makes me.
Are you afraid of failing?
Yeah, I am.
What is failing in music to you? Because if you're writing a song that you believe and that is real to you and one person connects with it, I don't think you failed. Oh, that's a success
in itself. I think there's two ways to look at it, and I don't care about how many people listen to it. I just want to make people happy and make people feel seen and heard, and if anyone can feel less alone with my music, whether it's by crying, dancing, or anything in between, I feel like I've succeeded.
I love that.
Yeah, because that's what I listen to so many artists that are like such core parts of my life, and that maybe aren't huge and aren't like the Taylor Swifts of the world, which I also love Taylor, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that big of an artist. And I think like, if these people knew how big of an impact they've had on my life.
You want to give a few a shout out real quick?
This is a shout out to no, but I like there's like do you guys know Hiatus Coyote, for example?
I do know that.
Like Hiatus Coyote is a band that they're huge, they're really big, but like they've, at least to me, have really like been the soundtrack to many moments of my life. In the same way that Ariana has, and like she's the biggest pop star ever, or not ever, but one of the biggest pop stars in the world right now. And it's just like, I think that's what I want to achieve, and that's what I would like to strive towards. But on the other hand, I've been singing all my life, and all my life people have been telling me that I should sing, and that in itself, it's a lot of pressure too.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like everybody has outside forces that can color the things we love.
100%. The first time ever in my life someone's looked at me that I worked with and went, "If you don't want to do this, you don't have to," was 6 months ago. First time in my life.
What was that moment?
It was because I was going through like a music crisis of like, what am I doing? Kind of like an identity thing. And me personally, I was also going through it, so it made sense. And I was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know anything, blah, blah, blah. I kind of got to a point that I was like, I just don't know anything. And this guy I was talking to, who I met on the first show I did, and he was great, and he's always held my hand in a very sweet, pure intention and pure-hearted way. He was like, listen, Maya, just because you're good at it doesn't mean you have to do it. Do you want to do it? Like, do you want to? I was like, yeah, I want to sing. It's the only thing I know that I want in this whole world. And then in that in itself, it was just such a small question. But to me, having no one have ever asked me, it was very much like, wait, do I? And yeah, I do. I love it. I don't doubt it.
Right.
But getting to stop and think about it for a second really put things into perspective.
That's cool.
That's some real shit.
I think it's time to write.
I do think it's time to write as well. I think we can dive into a bit of that, you know, reality fiction thing, and also just dive into what you're fucking feeling.
Yeah, you guys, don't cheat. Don't break people's hearts.
I know. 60% of people cheat and the other 40% lie about it.
Honestly, yeah, cheat. Do whatever you want.
That's dark as shit, dude.
Honestly, no, I can't say don't cheat. Do whatever you want, people. Just try not to hurt the other person.
I know.
I'm looking into the camera.
Yeah.
Try not to hurt each other. Do whatever helps. And that's it.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for being part of cracking the copyright.
Yeah, you had a lot of mic drop moments where you just stopped right there. Been good. Socials are just your name on everything?
Just my name, Maia Reficco, with one F, two C's. I don't know why people misspell my name all the time. Maia Reficco is my name.
And real quick, you got any cool projects coming out on the acting side you want to shout out?
Yeah. So Pretty Little Liars, Original Sin is coming out this summer on HBO Max for everybody. And I do not know if I can say anything else about the rest of them.
Okay.
But Your Revenge is going to be on Netflix soon at some point in life.
Hell yeah.
So I can't wait for everyone to watch that. It's really exciting. And yeah, thank you guys for having me. I had so much fun. Let's go write this song.
Let's
do it.